Hello, it's Tim from Fair Play Now on the 25th September 2022, and still buzzing after the weekend's events. Our meet-up at the Black Country Living Museum with Lee, Marty and about 25 others. It really was a fantastic day and I'm still buzzing from it. Had so many great conversations and it was a joy talking to all the people I talked to. As I kind of said yesterday when the three of us were sitting together, it's a little bit like when you're at a party or something. You end up talking to some people for a good length of time and then others only for a minute or two, and you just wish you'd talk to them longer as well. But I'm sure there'll be future meetups of one form or another and we can sort of make up for that. And again, as I said yesterday, I really am up for future meets. Realistically, I think they'll have to happen in the Midlands. We had people coming up from down south, from up north, from West Wales, and lots of other different parts of the country. So having a central location like that really worked well. And yeah, can't wait for the next one really. And I am aware that we might have lost one or two people along the way yesterday because we ended up going upstairs. There's a pub there in the middle of the complex called the Elephant and Castle, and they had an upstairs room, and we all kind of made our way up there at around about 2:30, I think it was. But it struck me that not everybody might have got the message that that was the plan of action. So if you got lost along the way and you wondered where on earth everybody had disappeared to, really sorry about that. But as I say, there will be future events and catch up with you then. As you know, Lorraine and I made an anniversary trip out of it as well. So we stayed at this kind of complex just outside of Coventry, and therefore it wasn't too far to get up to Dudley yesterday, only about a 45-minute run. So that was handy for that. But we did other things, went out and about, did a bit of exploring and that sort of thing. And we stayed at that nice place that you saw us at on Friday's video, you know, right next to a lake, and it was a really beautiful setting, and it was a sort of holiday complex, little bar and restaurant there, some rooms or lodge type things with all the usual facilities plus the decking area by the lake. So it was all very nice. But one or two observations for you. Whilst up in the Midlands there, I tried to turn myself off, well, apart from all of the chats with people yesterday, but I tried turning myself off from all this kind of thing. But you still stay tuned to a certain extent, and you come across things where you just end up thinking, hang on a minute, that's not right. And at this complex where we were staying, they had this radio station on a fair bit at the time. I don't listen to mainstream media, as you know, but the only times I do listen to it is when somewhere like that happens to have it on. And I don't really know what the context was, but they were saying on this radio station, be aware of misinformation online. I've got no idea whether they're talking about the lurgy or that thing, or what it was. I wasn't really listening, but my ears perked up when I heard misinformation, and I thought, hello, what's that all about then? And you'll never guess what the name of this radio station was. It was Free Radio. Apparently it's a radio station in and around Coventry, I believe, by the sounds of it. free radio, and there they were basically having a go at freedom of speech, saying don't trust anything apart from the official sources, because of course that is where you get your true information from the Ministry of Truth, which is kind of percolated down through the likes of us official radio stations. So I just thought the whole thing was very ironic. And another observation, on the way to Dudley from this place just outside of Coventry, we were going up the M6 motorway, and which goes up the western side of Birmingham, and then we had an offshoot at the end to get around to sort of Dudley, but most of the journey was up the M6. And the speed limit on the motorways in this country is supposed to be 70 miles an hour, but a long time ago they introduced these variable speed limits on the motorways. You've got these overhead gantry things all along the motorways, and they've got the signs on with the speed limits when the variable speed limit comes on, and it goes from 70 down to 60, and then 50, and then 40 sometimes. And when they brought in these variable speed limits, it is all supposed to be about, well, first of all, they reckoned by controlling the speed limit and the speed of cars, they could ease the congestion and make your journey smoother, easier and more convenient. And then, of course, if there was any incident up ahead, they could reduce the speed limit so you didn't come onto the incident unexpectedly, going at 70 miles an hour. So there was a safety element. So basically, the whole variable speed limit concept was sold to us originally many years ago on those two grounds: convenience and safety. Is this starting to sound familiar? Remind you of anything else? But yesterday they had on the M6 on the way to Dudley, they had the variable speed limits on at 60 miles an hour for no reason at all. There was no incidents or accidents or anything like that up there, no roadworks, nothing, but for no reason it was on 60 miles an hour, and it said reduced speed limits to improve air quality. Now, I'd never seen this. I haven't seen this down south or anything. This is the first time I've ever come across this, so it's a surprise to me. And when you consider the vast majority of vehicles on British roads are under 10 years old, certainly under 15 years old, and any vehicle, modern or relatively modern, have got super efficient engines and very strictly controlled emissions, which means that hardly any emissions will be coming out. So there'll be, I would have thought, almost no difference reducing your speed from 70 miles an hour down to 60 miles an hour as far as emissions are concerned. So it was a complete red herring as far as I can see. And as far as I'm concerned, it's all about control, using technology for control. And that's how it's always, that's how technology is always rolled out. It's first of all about convenience, maybe safety, but then it's used to control the population. So I know it's a very trivial example, very small example, and you might be thinking, so what, Tim, it's no big deal if you have to do 60 miles an hour for a few miles. But I just think it's a sign of control, and we need to be very wary of this kind of thing, especially when bigger issues are sort of come into question, because if they start trying to control the population through that, you can bet your life that if they manage to get rid of cash and bring in digital currencies, for example, the whole thing will start off as convenience, safety, your sort of bank account will be safe, but it will then morph, just as we've seen with these variable speed limits, into a control mechanism. And then you've got to watch out, especially if there's no such thing as cash anymore, because they will then start impinging on your freedoms. You'll start finding that you can't pay for certain things because you've been a naughty boy or a naughty girl. And I truly believe this is how this kind of thing works. So a small example, but a very telling one, and we need to be on the lookout for any of this kind of thing. So if you can think of any other instance of technology where it's, well, I'm going to give it a little mathematical equation, kind of. Convenience plus safety equals control by the state, that is, of course. So what other technologies can you think of where it's sold to us as convenience plus safety, but you can see it turning into state control? I'd like to see your comments on that in the comment section below. It'll be very interesting to read, and I'll be back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.